Darren, relegation confirmed today, 3-2 defeat in Newington. Before we get into all that, just on the match itself, probably a case of not scoring the goals, particularly in the second half, and they get back at 2 each and had that period of dominance and then conceding sort of sums up the season a little bit.
Probably should have scored in the first minute. Great chance, didn't take it, and then started the game well. Thought, and then you get punished for it. And the reaction was really good. Got ourselves back in it. And again, conceding, and it was unfortunate for Lorgan. Just got a deflection off Engine's head. All not, he would have saved it. And just come out second half. Thought we were very good second half. Came out really encouraging. Got the equaliser, and to be honest, it only looked like one team was going to go and win it. But then we just didn't. You can't leave someone like Donnelly, give him that much time and space to finish, and then we were chasing the game. And look, ultimately we just haven't been good enough.
Yeah, it's sort of it's not this one game that is sort of sealed. This is sealed relegation, but it's over the course of the season. I mean, the old cliche, I suppose, the table doesn't lie, does it? No,
it doesn't. I said last week. You're not bottom of the table by bad luck or refereeing decisions. Whatever. We just haven't been good enough. We haven't, and as I said, I've no problem taking the rap for that as manager. I suppose there's three stages to this. It's first of all, it's just taking your medicine. We deserve every bit of criticism coming our way, and especially me as manager. I have no problem with that. I pick the team. I bring players in, so I'll take full responsibility for that. And just on that, today, even you see the fans' reaction. Any other club, you're getting pelted off and grief and would have deserved every bit of it. Our fans didn't. So it's taking the medicine, and then you're on to, I suppose, a review of the season. Just as I said, just not good enough. I'll step away. That was always the plan. I was never going to be in place next season. I didn't want to be. I didn't want to come back. But at the same time, people say, "Are you glad?" And I am glad to come back. I am, because even though today, because I'm back involved in it, and I'll be involved in some capacity moving forward. So there'll be a review of the season to make sure this doesn't happen again. And then the last stage, and most importantly, is fixing it. And that process has started, because I wanted to make sure whatever happened, that we had a plan in place. So we'll put plans in place for appointing a new manager and making sure what happens here doesn't happen again, because to go from the Premiership down to the Premier Intermediate in 2 years, it's not acceptable. Shouldn't happen. And I'm not trying to blame anyone else on that. As a club, and as a manager, we need to look as to how this happened and make sure it never happens again. It needs to be solid. It needs to be a plan in place to make sure that we're successful both on and off the pitch.
Over the course of this season, and I know you only come in sort of in October, what do you put this down to? I mean, is it you obviously a lot of players had to go in January, a lot of players come in. I mean, is there anything? Is it a accumulation of things rather than sort of just one sort of thing you can pinpoint?
Yeah, I suppose the recruitment hasn't been good enough. And that's obvious, and that's not. And even today, I can't fault the players, for their effort, but just haven't been good enough. The quality just hasn't been there. It needs a better squad, and whoever come in now, starting from in the Premier Intermediate, maybe it's better for them because they can build a new team. Because this is what it needs. It does need a rebuild. Someone coming in with fresh energy, new ideas, and then making sure that as a club we give them every chance to succeed on the pitch. So that review has, as I said, started. The committee have known for a while now that I hadn't been staying on. To say it was never my intention to stay on, but the thing with it is that I will stay involved in the club in some capacity to make sure that the mistakes I've made before don't happen again.
You touched on the fans there, and their support was here, right until the final whistle today and over the course of the season. What would be your message to them?
Just stick with us. I know they will. They don't need me to tell them to stick with us. And even today, just to appreciate that, because if I had got a bit of grief today coming off, I would have no qualms with that whatsoever. I would have taken every bit of grief that comes away. But look, they're a good honest bunch. They know and they can see what the problems have been. We need to start putting a smile back on their face. We haven't done that this year. They deserve better than what they're getting at the minute. And if I can help that in any way as part of I suppose the turnaround or whatever we want to call it, moving forward, then so be it. And that has to be the case. Put a smile back on their faces. There'll be a period now where I suppose it's doom and gloom which it is, because relegation is an awful thing, to go through. In the grand scheme of things, it's not. There's more important things in life than football. But in terms of this context, yeah, it's a tough one to deal with. But we have to turn the narrative pretty quick. Take your medicine. Not good enough. Review it, and then turn around pretty quick. Get a new manager in place. Start building a new team, help them to build a team that's going to go and win the Premier Intermediate next year, because that has to be the case. It has to be. It's we've gone down 2 divisions, and it's not a case of stability. It's bouncing right back up, and that'll be the aim. So just apologies for this season. As I said, manager, I'll take responsibility for it. It's not good enough. I can only apologise, and what I will say is that it looks. And it is. I suppose it is doom and gloom at the minute. It's not a nice situation to be in, but that will change. I can promise you now that will change. Just give us a bit of time to fix things, put new things in place, and then we'll be back bigger and better.
And just finally, obviously, there's still one game to play next week at home. Obviously, it'll be your final game in charge at home, the Institute. What do you want now that sort of the eventual outcome has been sealed? What do you want to see from the players next week? What do you want to happen next week? Obviously, apart from a win. Yeah,
I suppose it's a bit of a strange one, because it's dead rubbers, as I say. It's a very difficult one, and if you're a fan, I think, what's the point of going down? What's that? Look, I can only urge the fans maybe to come down and I suppose just see off the season. They've stuck with us right the whole way through. Just see through the last game of the season. We'll pick a team to finish it off. But within that, there'll be things that'll happen this week in terms of trying to move things on for next season, because we can't sit in our hands here. We have to move things on pretty quickly. It's difficult. It's not a good place at the minute, but it will change. Stick with us, as I said to the lads in there, it's not a case of everybody jumping ship. Yes, the squad will change. It has to change. But there are certain lads that will